A silent prayer for Mohammed Badawi from those closest to him. His nephew proudly shows us photos of his uncle. His sons are too overcome with grief to speak to us. The well-known journalist was killed at a checkpoint outside his office by Iraqi security forces on the 23rd of March. He was shot in broad daylight in front of multiple witnesses after an incident with an army officer. Badawi also taught media studies at university in Baghdad. His brother says his murder was ultimately due to his work and because Iraq's security forces aren't held accountable.
He was killed because the security forces don't value life, and they think they can do what they want. My brother's only weapon is pen and a notepad. He was just trying to get to his office.
His death has shocked other journalists who fear they could be next. The Journalistic Freedoms Observatory says 180 journalists have died doing their jobs over the last 10 years, 15 of them in the last 12 months alone. They also claim the government's not doing enough to protect and nurture journalism or to instill respect for journalists within Iraq's security forces.
We have killings, we have kidnapped for ransom, journalists have come under targeted attack to scare them. It does feel like we are under attack by the security forces. What needs to happen is the government need to introduce a clear code of conduct and guidelines that allow us to do our work free of threats and intimidation.
Badawi's death inspired a conference in Baghdad. The safety of journalists was the main item on the agenda, along with the demand for security forces to respect the media. Government leaders have promised to investigate the Badawi case thoroughly, but other Iraqis want more. Iraqi journalists face a multitude of threats because of the security situation within the country. But privately, many of them will also tell you that they're afraid to carry out their work, particularly in sensitive areas, or to try and do any kind of investigative work for fear that they'll come under attack. The day after Badawi's murder, colleagues held a symbolic funeral, mourning not only his death, but the death of media freedom. Independent journalism is a relatively new development in Iraq, flourishing after the fall of Saddam Hussein in 2003. These Iraqis hope it will grow and not be strangled before it's matured. Imran Khan, Al Jazeera, Baghdad.